Okay. Okay.
And white spaces are also not accepted when naming your variables.
Okay. All right.
All
Thank you very
right.
much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Malik, I'm just saying.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
In speaking, he shouldn't start with underscore. Please, that one is it. Point of correction. He said we can start with underscore, but the hashtag that is there, that one is what we can start with.
Yeah, he said we can't start with the hashtag, but we can start with an underscore, right?
Yeah, but right now my brother is saying that we cannot start with underscore. So I just want to correct that part.
Okay, okay. Agbago, do you understand that part? Agbago. Okay, Samuel, your hand is up.
I think you called me, but unfortunately I was not around, so sorry for that.
Okay, so
Um,
I want you to give us a recap of what you learned yesterday.
so I think yesterday we talked about identifiers, which we have variables and constants. But I think my colleagues have talked about the variables. I just
Yeah.
wanted to use more about constant. So when
Okay.
we use a constant, that means that it doesn't change. Going on, you can't change it in calculations. And most
Okay.
especially with small c, so const, that's what you use to declare. Then maybe either double or something. Then even say ask that what are the constant that we have in mathematics? Some say pi, then a lot. So that's a lesson that I can say that when you use constant, you can't change it when you are coding, as compared to the other variable that you can change. Since we know that variables, the word even tells us that variable means it varies, it changes, but constant you can't change them.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Donatus. Donatus, can you hear me? Donatus. Donatus is nowhere to be found.
Hi.
Okay. So I see.
Alright, so I want to resume and then we can do whatever we want to do today. Hello? Yeah, so like I said, enough of the discussion. We should just go straight to today's point and see what best we can achieve today. But before I go ahead and then introduce today's topic, I would pick randomly some of the assignments you submitted and then we look at it together. I'll criticize some of them. Some of you did a very good job, some of you two were on track, but you were missing one or two things, and I would have to point them out. So let me share my screen first. I believe you can see my screen now. Okay. So I would go through the group, the messages in the group, and pick some random submissions. Um, okay, so I would pick this one.
So Please, we can only see your working area.
I believe you can see now. All right. So
Yeah.
this is
Are you presenting?
come again.
Are you presenting the working area or your the WhatsApp assignment?
My screen is shared, so whatever I'm doing, I expect you to see it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'm actually picking this thing from the group. Okay, I'm picking it from the WhatsApp group, and I'm going to criticize it. That is what I said. Okay. So this is Asamoah's Finn's submission. So let's look at it. Okay, we have the header is there. We have also this namespace included. Okay, and this is a comment at the top. Very nice, very nice. We also have the main method definition, but then this one is supposed to have some parameters. They are not there. You see, when I even place the cursor in it, it is suggesting the things that are supposed to be there. So let's say int what this. Yes. Okay. There is also another comment here, calculating the area of what a rectangle. Very nice. So area was defined as a variable. We have length and width, and then she decided to use the data type integer. Alright, I'll come back to this. So she went ahead and said that assign values to the variable. So area is saying length times the width. Okay, let's see. And then she went out to say print. Now because you have included this namespace at the top, there is no need for you to do this thing here again. I think a couple of times I've touched on this, so please be aware of that. Okay, so let me go ahead and compile this code and run it so we see um, okay, so I was trying to build this code here, but then I'm getting an error. So what is it? Oh, I should have paid attention to the error message, but let's try to debug it together. Now return 0. Okay, that is fine. Now what do you think the issue is? What do you think the issue is? Yes, what do you think the issue is? Hey, nobody to respond? Hey, so none of you want to talk? Really? I'm not seeing the codes line. Okay. Can you see now? Yeah, so what is the issue? What is the issue in this code? Because we are trying to compile it so we get an output, but it is not allowing us. It's throwing an error. So what is the issue with it? Okay, so let me just go ahead and fix it. There is no space at what area? You think that is the issue? Samuel Lesuman, let's hear from you.
Sir, please. I think on the line 12, you will say that the integer is the area is integer. But when it comes to line 18, area equals length times the width. So I don't know if that's the issue.
Okay, so not quite exactly. So let me just go ahead and fix it. So pay attention. Now, first thing first, um, for us to compensate for decimal numbers, or let's say numbers with what decimals, it would have been appropriate for us to use floats for the length, the width, and then the area. Because when we do int, it means that we can't compute decimal numbers. That is what it means here. So, but for a basic assignment, this is correct. But in as much as we are learning, there are some best practices that you need to start cultivating. So, like I said, it is not appropriate that you use integer data type for these things, because when it happens like that, if I should say okay, the length is, let's say, 3.5, the 0.5 will not be catered for. The 0.5 will not be catered for because I'm using integer data type. So first thing, let's change all these ones to floats. So that we can make room for decimal numbers. Now, she's saying that area is equal to length times width. But then, before you do this, the assignment must happen before the calculation. You are performing a calculation while the length is holding nothing. The width is also holding nothing. And here, this is what you are doing. So this calculation is happening before these numbers. So we are not going to get any output, or the desired output that we want. We are not going to get it. So this one here has to move to the top. Are we good? Okay. Now, having done that, what can we do again? Now we go ahead and say now area is what is equal to this times that. Then the cout is here, saying that area can bring a nice formatting like so, and then let's run the code again and see what we get. So I'm going to compile and then run. Okay, so we are still getting what? An error in this program. So what is it? Okay, returning 0 here. So what at all is the issue now? missing on something here? Why is this thing not running? So we have int main. This, please. Oh, okay, that's not an issue. Okay, so you are saying that we use float, but we are assigning integers to it. That is not an issue. So when we should print these ones out, it should print 5.0, 6.0. That is what is going to happen. Okay, so that is not where the issue is coming from. I don't know, there is something wrong probably here. Let me see something. Compile and run again. So main dot o, okay, I think it's coming from this definitions here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to revert to my codes earlier, this one here. Right, and then what I'll do is just clear these things, and then where is that assignment that I copied? Just when, yeah, this one here. I'll only copy from the parts that was doing the calculations and paste it. So I'll get rid of there's a comment here. Then there is another comment here. I said we should move these ones to the top, and then we should also get rid of this one, and I think we should be good to go. So let me compile again and run it. Yeah, so I think this is gonna work. Exactly. Yeah, so we are getting area to be what, 30. We are getting area to be 30. Now, like I said, supposing we had this ones before the calculation itself, let's compile and run again and see what we get. So you realize we are getting 0, right? Hello? Yeah, so that is why I said you can't do the computation and then come and then assign the values later. The values must be available like so before you do the calculation on the values, because the program is going to start from the top, line 1, line 2, then all these things are white spaces. It skips it, it comes here, it check, then it continues like that. So it got here, and then you had done a calculation like so already. Meanwhile, the last time we saw that when we do something like so, by default zeros are going to be assigned to what, this value, just to do what we call garbage collection. I said this the last time. So now we come back and then assign what, the values later. So what happened is the area will just be doing 0 times 0, because this is what you did, and then that is what you are going to get as output, 0. But if you assign the values before you come and perform the computation, now it knows that, oh okay, this variable has been given 5, and then width is also having the value 5, so it will now pick those values and then what, multiply them, and then store the results in the area. Does it make sense? All right, great, great. So that is one assignment like that. Let me see if I can pick one more so that we go to today's topic. So let me look for um, yeah. So I think Hatim, someone's WhatsApp username is Hatim. He did a very good job by actually formatting. Okay, so the real name is Mohammed Bayuke or something, right? So he was able to do a good job by giving us this, by giving us the floats, the the float data type, the breadth, and then the height, and then the area is also defined as a variable. Now it went ahead to just calculate the area by multiplying what, the height by the breadth, and then like I said you should display the information in nice format like that, and that is what he has done. So let's go ahead and print this one to see what we have. So compile and run. I only hope that he didn't go to use AI to do this thing. Ken, you are laughing at. Yeah, so very nice. Formatted rectangle information. The height is 10, the breadth is this, and then the area is 150 centimeters square. So this is a wonderful work. Like I said, I'm only hoping that you didn't use AI to do it. Even if you use AI, I believe that you understand what is going on. That is the most important thing. If you understand what you are doing, that is very, very crucial. Okay. Alright, so I think I would end on this too. So please, those of you who did the assignments, pick inspirations from this. If you had a correct output like we are getting, that is fine. It means you're on the right track, you are getting whatever we are doing. But if you are hitting on few issues and errors, then please pick inspiration from the things that I've touched on and then correct your mistakes. Are we good? All right. Great, great, great. So today let's continue. We are going to talk about user input. Okay. We are going to do user input. So let me just get rid of all these things here. So when we say user input, what does it mean? Any idea? Any idea what user input means? Hello. Any idea what user input means? Okay, receiving inputs by using cin. Peter Moore, that is fine. That is okay. Okay, another person is saying receiving what? This is going to be clustered. I think I don't want this experience. Okay, so receiving data from computer user. Okay, that is fine. Great. We also have data entered by user, information taken from the end user. So all these ones are wonderful submissions. Okay, these are wonderful submissions. So why is this thing is actually mirroring? Why is it doing that? Okay. All right, let's continue. So when you are developing your computer programs, your software programs, they are going to be used by what? A user, right? And because of that, definitely there will be instances that they would be required to input some information. Use a mouse to click something, they will use keyboard to enter some information, and so on and so forth. So whatever the user does with our software, we need to have a way of what getting those things and then act on them and then give them feedback as to what they are requesting the system to do for them. So that entirety of what they do with our system, we can term them as what user inputs. Okay, so in C++, because it is a programming language and then we are using it to learn how to write computer programs, it has features and functionalities that will be able to help us implement functionalities that can help users input information into our softwares or programs. Does it make sense? Yes. So when you want to take some information from the user using C++, there is a way we go about it. When you go to Python, it has its own ways of what doing it. When you are learning C sharp, it has a way we go about it. C++ also has its own what unique way of doing that, and that is what I want us to look at. So you remember we said that cout had a particular function or have a particular function it performs, and what is the meaning? What is the meaning of cout? What is the meaning of cout? Console out. Great, 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 great. Console out. It means that it should bring out something, right, from the console. Now, the reverse of this is actually what we call cin. So it means what? Console in. So it means it is going to take something from the user through the keyboard into the computer program that we are creating. Cin. So whenever you want to take user input, you use the cin. Not cout, oh, please. Cout is used to display information. But we use cin to what? We use cin to take input from the user. Are we good on that? Okay, so let's continue. So what am I going to do? The same up here, and then I want to do something like so. Okay, so now in order to get user input, we say that, let's say for instance we want to accept a number from the user. Okay, we want to accept number from the user, right? How do we go about? First of all, before you accept input, you have to have where you are going to store that information. Before you accept user input, you have to have where you are going to store that information. So this is what we can do. We can define a variable called int number, right? Then we terminate this one here. Then what we do is we can now ask the user to what? Input a number, right? So cout, you say enter a number. Are we following? Okay, great. Now you've defined a variable called number, because we say variables are containers, right? It is going to be able to hold some values, but this one we are saying that it should just be declared and it has nothing, or it is valueless for now. Now we are going ahead to ask the user to input a number. When you ask the user to now input a number, just after that you need to accept the number. You need to store the number. Just after you ask the user, you need to store or accept what? The input. And how do we do it? We use what? Cin, as discussed earlier. But then you realize that cout we are using less than. In cin, we will use what we call the extraction operator, which is greater than. Is it clear? Okay, so greater, then we just say number, and then we terminate this thing here like so. So having done this, we have been able to accept the user input. Now when we accept the user input, what do we want to do with it? We can print a nice message, say you entered the number, then we say what? Number. Okay, so let me go ahead and compile and run this. So you realize that we are having a prompt on the screen saying that we should enter a number, and then the cursor is blinking. Unlike the previous one, when we compile and run the code, it only executes with some statements beneath it like that. But this time around, it is asking us to enter a number with a blinking cursor. Are we okay? Okay, so what do we do? Let's just go ahead and feed in a number like say 10. So when you feed in the number, you just have to hit enter on your keyboard, and then you realize that it is telling us you entered the number what? 10. You entered the number 10. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? If you have a question, you raise your hands up and then ask. If there are no questions, to give me a thumbs up, meaning that you don't have a question, so we can continue. Okay, Peter, let's hear from you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. After I compiled mine and then I executed it, it just appeared, enter a number, then the whole thing went up again. So it didn't allow me to enter the number.
Yeah, then probably you are missing on a something. You are missing something. Check your code very well.
Okay, sir. I will check that and get back to you. Thank you.
Yes, check it very well. You are missing something. Okay, so let's continue. Now, what am I going to do? We are going to create a simple calculator. Okay, we've learned how to what display information on the screen. We've also learned how to take information from the user, how to accept user input. So let's combine that knowledge and then create a simple calculator. All right, great. So let me copy this code here and drop it in the group before I go ahead and okay. Now we would want to just do a very simple calculator, not a complicated one. So I would want to say let's declare two variables. Okay, so a variable say um, num1 and then num2, right? Then I also define a variable that says maybe sum. Okay, now we are going to ask the user to input a first number or maybe any random number. So see out, say enter a number, right? Then when we ask the user to enter a number like so, what is the next thing we are supposed to do? What is the next thing? Okay, we do see in, right? So I would want you to be very expressive. You say we accept user input by using the C in what function. Okay, don't just say C in. When you express yourself, it communicates a message that you really understand what is going on. Okay, so C in, then we use the extraction operator because we want to extract some information from the keyboard. Then we store this one in the first variable num1 like so. Then we go ahead and ask the user again to enter another number. Alright, this one too, we do what, we go ahead and say C in, and then we store it in what, number 2, num2 variable. Now for us to get the sum of these two numbers, what do we do? Because we have already defined sum here, okay, let's just go ahead and say sum is equal to num1 plus what, num2. And then what can we do? See out, say sum is what? Who is confused? Stanford, what is your issue? Stanford's, what is your issue? I should go over again. Are you joining for the first time? How many times have you been to the meeting? How many times? This is your second time, third time, or fourth time, or fifth time, or sixth time? Your fifth time. Okay. Now, while we were doing the variable declarations at the top here, I believe that one is pretty straightforward. Okay, great. Now, the agenda is to create a simple calculator, but the simple calculator we are creating, we are only doing for what? Summation, addition. Okay, we are not catering for the multiplication, the subtraction, and whatnot, right? We are only catering for what? Addition. And that is why we have these variables defined, num1, num2. So num1 is basically saying number 1, okay? You can say maybe this one to be x, and then maybe this one to be y. But then I said something about these kind of variables in our previous meetings, that this is not descriptive enough. Sometimes it can be confusing what x means and what y means. So let's use a more appropriate word, variable names. Okay. So after that, we also define a variable called sum, because when we are performing calculation on the first number and then the second number, we need to have a way of what? Storing them. We need to have a way of keeping them in the computer program. So we define the sum variable, and that is what is going to store the sum of what these two numbers. Then we went ahead to basically ask the user to enter a number. So the user can enter probably 10, 12, 70, 100, 200, what number at all. The user can enter that. So immediately we are displaying this information, asking the user to enter a number. Just after that, we need to what? Keep that information that the user is going to feed into the program. And how do we do that? We've understood it to be the fact that we are using the cin functionality to get the information from the user. Up to this point, is it clear? Okay. Then we repeat the same action for the second number, where we ask the user again to what? Enter another number. And that second number that the user is going to enter, we are going to keep it inside what? The second variable called num2. So immediately the user finish entering the two numbers, we need to now perform a computation by saying, okay, now let's pick the sum variable, because we are going to what? Store something in it. So what are we going to store in it? We are going to add the first number and then the second number that the user gave us, and then assign it to the sum variable here. Are we okay up to this point? Yeah, so having done that, what do we do with that information? We decided to display it. So in order to display, we said, okay, sum is, then we actually did what we call concatenation. So we concatenated the sum variable, which is actually holding the actual value of what? The first number and then the second number. which is going to be added to the message. Sum is, then probably let's say 10, 12, what number at all it is, like that. Is it understood now? Okay, so that is that. That is our simple calculator. Now we can go ahead and make this calculator a very very complex one, but we are beginners, so let's just stay simple. So what you can do is you can further go ahead and now ask the user to enter an operator. So the operator here could be what? Plus, could be minus, it could be multiplication. But then how do you know which operator or what operator the user entered? Is it a minus? Is it a multiplication? How do you know that? You need other knowledge to be able to do that. We've not gotten there yet, so let's just stay simple for now. Are we okay? So for you to test all the other operators, you can now decide to change the operation what symbol here, which is the plus, to probably minus. But then for you to make room for all the other operators one after the other, it will be meaningful if you change the sum variable to say result, because when you say sum, it is basically meaning what? Addition. So if you change it to result, then it will now be able to make sense with the other operators. So here I'll just say result, here to result. Then I can now change these operators, the operator here, to any operator at all that I want. So maybe minus, multiplication, division, the modulo, and so on and so forth. Have I made myself clear? Okay. Now let's talk about, so let me just copy this one and share it in the group. Now when we started along the line, we made mention of what? Data types. Who can help us what we really said about that data types? Hello? Hello? Who can help us what we said about data types? In our previous discussions, we said so many things about data types. Who can help us? Hey, symmetry. Emmanuel. Okay, so someone is actually rescuing you guys. Data type includes string, integer, boolean, float. So include string, integer, boolean, float, double, etc., etc. Okay. Now what is the essence of data types? What are the essence of data types? Why do we have them? Why do we have them? Why do we have data types? Hey, they define the type of data that will be contained to help distinguish one data from another. Those are brilliant submissions. Um, some of us, we are just quiet as to whether we understand. If you are not responding, I wouldn't be able to infer whether you understand or not. I will continue with a few people who give responses, and it's assumed that all of you understand it. So someone is also saying that no evidence. What is your issue? I think they define the data where it is a value or label word. Okay, that is fine. Data types defined nature of what data type. You are defining something and you are using the same word in the definition again. It will make it difficult to understand. So you can use other words to replace data type. It helps to know. It helps us to know the particular data we are working with. Yes, that is also correct. Okay, so with these few submissions, it is assumed that you guys already understand it because the last time we did touched on it, but we didn't really treat it as a topic. I only touched on few stuffs when we were talking about variables and all that. So, and then I think at a point too, I made mention of what other types. Where we made mention of a boolean, the character, the double, the float, and all that. Remember? Do you guys remember that? Okay, so if that is the case, then I'm going to proceed to the next thing. I wouldn't talk about data types again. I wouldn't talk about that again. Now, you should also understand that there is what we call scientific numbers. Okay, when we're defining the data type that I mentioned the last time, I told you that the ones that I highlighted are basically what primitive data types. When we say primitive, they are the basic data types. There are actually advanced data types, but once you progress, you discover them yourself. But then I want to touch on scientific numbers. What are they? Have you ever punched in any let's say equation on a calculator and you realize that the calculator didn't give you the full answer? It probably gave you some numbers and some letters combined like that. Have you ever experienced that? Yes, so those are actually scientific numbers, and when you see those letters, it is up to you to know what the letter means. If you don't understand, then it means your math teacher didn't help you. It is what it is. So we can have a variable, say floats, then we say one is actually, let's say 45, let's say e and then 4. So now when we go ahead and say cout, so we say num1. Let's compile and run this. We are getting 450,000. What is the meaning? What is actually happening? I only punched in what? 45 e and then 4, but we are getting 450,000. What is happening? Any idea? Any idea? Please, are scientific numbers same as hexadecimals? Yes, you can say that. Peter Moore is saying e is an exponent. That is correct. 45 with 4 zeros. That is correct. So exponent, right? Exponent 4. That is what basically that is given us. You guys, you are good. You are good. You know, you are good. So that is Marty. Yes, 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 yes. So I wouldn't waste much time on this. let me take the next thing. Samuel, what is it? Okay, Samuel, you want to ask a question? Let's hear you.
Please, I think you said the E means 4 zeros, the 4 or something
Yeah.
is an exponent. Please, can you elaborate for me?
Uh-huh. What about that?
I don't understand. Please, can you elaborate on that?
So
How
we
is
run
that?
this code. Compile and run. Let me just run this. So you are saying that it means 45 power 4. That is what someone is saying. Okay. Now this is what we are getting. But look at what we punched in. Oh, it's rather unfortunate that this thing is covering it up. Uh-huh. So this is what we punched in, and this is what we are getting. And I asked, why do you think we are getting at what is happening behind the scene? Okay. And then when you do that, what are you getting? So when you do 45 times 10 exponent 4, what are you getting? When you do 45 times 10 exponent 4, what are you getting? Samuel, yes, let's hear from you.
So please, from last semester, I think we did hexadecimal,
Uh-huh. You did
but
hexadecimal.
when
So
we did
E is what?
hexadecimal, E was 14.
Is what?
In hexadecimals,
Uh-huh. E is what?
E is 14.
14.
Then E is 10.
Okay. So let's not go there for now. Just understand that in C++, the E you are seeing is a scientific notation saying that exponent in base 10. Yes. So 10 exponent of 4. So let's continue. I'm not here to teach you maths. If you really, really want to get into some of this, you have to learn, build your own calculators, very complex ones, and then when you see me, you can show it to me. I'll be very impressed. Let's continue. All right. So I want to touch on one last thing, and then we can call it a day. So you let me comment out this. When I'm done, um, I'll just send all in a group like that. So we are talking about boolean boolean data types. We said something about booleans, right? We said boolean is actually a true state or a false state. And this was a debate we bumped into when we started this whole discussion. Does small a work with this? Please go and explore. We have F and all that. Remember, yesterday, I think yesterday, someone submitted an assignment or was saying that we should add F to some decimal numbers. You realize? You do you remember that? Yes. I thought there are so many things out there that you need to learn. I can't, I mean, consume all with you. Yes, you were the very one, so good. So that should even give you an insight that there is more to know. There is more to learn. So that is that. Let's continue, okay? So when we started this whole discussion, I touched on Boolean. And before we even got there, I said any device that uses electricity is actually a computer. And that sparked a whole lot of arguments and discussions. And it was very interesting though. And why I said that is basically because of this thing here, Booleans. We are saying that computers operate on two states. It's either a true or a false. And when you look at life in general, that is how life is. It's either you are alive or you are dead. It's either you are asleep or you are awake. It's either you are hungry or you are satisfied. That is how life is. And basically that is how computers are operating. Which you are laughing, you. Yes. So in computers, positive or negative, that is correct. That is good. That is good. So in computers, they also have this state. So it's either your phone is off or it is on. So when it is on, we are saying it has a one state. When it is off, it has what? A zero state. When you switch on a light, it is actually revolving around those same concepts. On, off, 0, 1, 0, 1, that kind of thing. So in computing itself, basically it's about what? True or false. So when something is true, do this. When something is false, do this. And there are so many ways to actually implement what? True or false functionalities in computer program. But there is actually a dedicated data type for implementing what? Or let's say determining a true state or a false state. And in C++ we call it what? Boolean. We call it Boolean. But then if you want to use Boolean as a data type, you don't type it full as Boolean like so. This is an error. You say bool, and this means what? Boolean. Then you can just say it's the bool is funny here. It's an is it BUL? Okay. It sounds like an animal, right? It's coding fun. So we are saying bool is coding fun, then we can set it to what? Is coding fun? It's fun, eh? So if it is fun, it means it's what? What state is it? If it is fun, what state is it? True, great. Agbeko, you said you were giving a thumbs down. Why? You are not getting it. It's not fun. It's difficult. Is that what you are saying? Agbeko, is that what you're saying? Don't worry. When you're starting like so, sometimes it's just overwhelming, but with time you get it. Okay, just be serious about it. All right. We can also have um bool. Then we say it's online. Then we can say maybe set it to false. Right. So when you are online, let's say you are using WhatsApp and you are online, how is the other person, let's say, or your contact list is able to know that you are online? So you see that WhatsApp will indicate on the other person's phone or something that this person is online. Or let's say when you open the person's DM and you start typing, an online indication will come at the top. How are you able to know? They were able to determine from the person's end that okay, the person is online, and then they show a status at your end that the person is online. Then another practical example is when the person is online, okay, and you send a message, then it should, and the person reads the message, then it should take is it green or blue? I've forgotten the color. Blue tick, right? So it should take blue twice, right? Great. So that is when if the person is online and the person has read the message. But if the person is online but the person has not read the message, it should take two, alright, but it should not be blue, it should be gray in color. And if the person is not online at all, then it should just take only one, and that color is gray. So all these things are booleans, they are conditions. And we can achieve those things in computer programming. You can do so many things with this particular concept. So yes, we've defined these two variables, is coding fun and then is online false. If we want to actually test this, how can we go about it? First thing first, let's just print out this is coding fun, right? Is it fun? Then end L. Now when we compile and run this code, let's see what we get. So we are getting 1. What does it mean? We are getting 1. What does it mean? True. Yes. So it's coding fun. True. So we said that 1 is true and then 0 is false. So when we say it's coding fun, we set it to true. It is giving us 1, and that is C++ for you. Now in other programming languages, you might not see how do you call it, 1. You would see the word true or false, but in C++ it is printing 0 and 1. So when you see 1 with a boolean status, then it means it is true. When you see 0, it means what? It is false. Are we okay? Great. So when we should go ahead and print is online, we are going to get 0. So let's look at something. I just want to get you interested in something right now. So I'll say if is online, right? If it's online, what can I do? I'll just say C out online, right? So and L, then I'll say else C out offline. Is it confusing? It's confusing. Okay, don't worry. So we've not at all. Which is saying not at all. So it's pretty straightforward. We've not touched on if yet. We've not touched on if conditions yet. We will get there. But then this is just what I want to touch on so that we can end the day. So I'm just going to compile and run this. I'm just going to compile and run this and look at what happens. We are going to get what? Offline. We are getting offline. So because this variable here, this boolean variable is online is false, we are checking if it's online, then go ahead and what? Print online, else print what? Offline. Now what is happening is this if condition we use it to check for let's say we use it to check certain conditions in a computer program. So by default, when you use an if statement like so we call it an if statement, it is going to return true. So we expect that if it's online, it means that if true or if 1, then print online. But this here is false, so it is going to say this technically would be what? 0 here. So it will be able to now infer that, oh, okay, this is a boolean value, but the variable, but the value is what? 0, which is false. So it is actually what? False. So it will fall into the else part and then print offline. Does it make sense? Yeah, so that is that. Don't worry, you understand it more when we treat if conditions. So this is where we are going to end today, and then we continue hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow is what? Thursday. So Friday hopefully, or Friday or Saturday. Friday we are ending the session. Yes, I would end the session on Friday. So I'm hoping that tomorrow and then Friday we would cover most of the basic things that you need so that you can be prepared for the next semester ahead of you. Yeah, some of you are happy, some of you are not happy. So after this virtual meeting, I'm available, but I'm not available for free. Yes, I'm not available for free. Yes, I'm speaking to um, those who are smart to understand what I'm saying. Yes, so that is that. Ken, what is hair? What do you mean by hair? You, Rich, you are not serious. You are learning and you are talking about Manchester. All right, so that is it for today's session. Please have Friday is like there's Linus Hackers program. I didn't see that one coming. No, okay, so I mean that one is also virtual, right? I should consider your age. Your age, don't you know the difference between good and bad? You know, so why should I consider your age? Alright, so we are ending here. We'll meet hopefully tomorrow. But they said Friday you have another program. So I think let's have a session on Friday. Well, I don't want to interject with, or let's say, um, be a stampede to whatever that is scheduled in the school. So please, if it is that you are asked to be present or join, do that. Okay, do that. Do that. If you guys are serious, I would know what to do. If you are not serious too, that is that. Some of you won't participate. Okay, that is fine. But I don't want where some of you be here and then the communicator will go is some people are actually doing something somewhere. You know how people talk, how people think, and all that. So please, if there is an official program, please join on Friday. Okay, join on Friday. Like I said, if you guys are serious, I would know. I will know. So how will I know? I'm not going to tell you. Just use your coconuts. Yes. I'm not a free person like that. I'm always doing something. I'm always busy. So if you need my assistance, you should make it seen. Yeah, if you make it seem as though you don't need my assistance to me to a day. So that is that. Which one is Kubi Toffee? How? Some of you are funny. Some of you are just funny. Alright, so we are ending here. We will continue hopefully tomorrow. Hello. Hello is definitely watching football. Because right from the beginning he was mentioning football, football. Where is he? Hello. I said it. He's not around. So we call it a day. Have a good evening. Okay. Bye.